and Dr. Sandeep Pendov, who's a hospitalist connected with Johns Hopkins Howard County, and Dr. Nirmala Shivaji, who's a practicing anesthesiologist, who's connected with Nityananda Meditation Academy, are going to be giving a talk on neuroscientific approach to mental health, and then a discussion about some lifestyle aspects that support positive mental health and higher consciousness. Then we're going to have another experience of pranayama, like a breathing exercise with Dr. Muktananda. And then he's going to give a lecture called Sustainable Mental Health and AI, talking about how artificial intelligence can support sustainable mental health systems. That'll be followed by Dr. Prema Kotandaraman. That'll be really nice. So it should be a very enriching and enlightening experience for everyone. And we're very happy to have you here. Briefly, this Science Summit is geared at how we can bring new scientific innovations to help the UN achieve its sustainable development goals. We picked goal number 1, no poverty, number 3, good health and well-being, and number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Really, if you look at the sustainable development goals, enhancing mental health will really help assist in achieving almost all of them. So we're organizing this and for having us here. Just a couple estimates, 2.5 to 5 trillion US dollars annual cost of mental health. That's looking at direct costs of clinical care and hospitalization, as well as indirect costs of lost work. And I'm going to posit that the cost of less than optimal mental health is so much higher in terms of lost potential.
So what we mean by mental health, this definition of mental health is taken straight from the UN mental health webpage. Essentially, mental health is a state of well-being where we are able to cope with, that COVID only made this problem much worse. And today's estimates are probably a quarter to a third higher than what we saw in 2019. WHO predicts that half of everyone in the world at some point before they reach the age of 75 will experience mental health issues. And that is a huge number, right? That goes into the billions. And those in poverty are 2.5 times more likely to be affected compared to others. And this really says that mental health needs to needs to address everybody, and it affects the disadvantaged identified or addressed. So in that sense, we not only treat mental health, but also enhance mental health ahead of time and then prevent it from happening. This is far cheaper to the source of emotions, address the mind-body system as a whole. And Dr. Peter is going to talk about have an entire definitions. You may hear these words through some presentations, and I wanted to define them ahead of time. Like incompletions are any past memory, thoughts, and emotions that restrict our spontaneity in the current moment and limit our actions in the future, which means they are limiting our future potential. They tend to manifest as like strong, low emotions such as anger, depression, agitation. So anytime you feel any of these negative emotions, you're probably experiencing incompletion. And of course, completion is a mental state where we do not have these incompletions. It gives us more freedom, more empowerment in the present moment, so that we can reach our full potential in the future. Extraordinary in doing certain things that no one else can, right? That is what I mean by growing up with beliefs that are self-limiting. So if you have self-doubt, it stops you from trying things, which again reinforces the self-doubt. So they tend to be vicious. We are spiritual beings enjoying a human experience. If you look at yourself that way as a spiritual being, then you don't think of yourself as being limited by your humanness, but actually liberated by our humanness. So it's a different way of looking at yourself. Next slide. Great. I'm going to now hand it over to Dr. Peter Bloomfield, and he's going to delve into the mind-body studies.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Muktananda. So again, my slide, and this offers thousands of free programs online to the global community. There's a large, diverse team of faculty, campuses all over the world, and many, many millions of people have benefited from the teachings of Nityananda Hindu University. And we invite you guys to look into it further. Then the chancellor of KAILASA's Nityananda Hindu University, this is, a being we could talk about all day. the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, who is, as per Hinduism, he is an incarnation of Paramashiva, which is the primordial divinity. And political leaders, religious leaders, and is a very, very indescribably remarkable figure. And through this talk, I'll be referring to Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, sometimes as Swamiji, which is a way that we refer to him, which is an address of tremendous respect and tremendous affection because of the positivity he's brought to our life. So some of the research is done with him, and I'll be describing him that way there. So participants, which you'll see some remarkable findings, and then we're going to talk about what is going on in the mind and brain and consciousness of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, who I also call as Swamiji. Some of them would have already been part of this enlightenment ecosystem, would have already known Swamiji, and some of them would have been new. And so the Dr. Rao, he drew blood and measured gene expression before and after the program. And they looked at hundreds of different genes being expressed, and they found huge changes in gene expression in multiple pathways. But the ones I'm going to highlight here are the pro-inflammatory pathways, which create inflammation in the system, which will, at the cellular level, be inflammation, but at the system-wide level will show up as stress and disease. Many of these, like the aging system of the cells at the DNA level, when the telomeres in the chromosomes and the DNA get short, then the cell can no longer reproduce and becomes senescent or becomes no longer effective. So maintaining the telomeres long is a job of telomerase, the organelles inside the cell that create power for the cell, energy for the cell. And so their metabolism was increased. This is actually not a typo. You see it's 967%. It's not a typo, it's really true. Basically 10-fold increase in mitochondrial metabolism. So you would expect that to show up in a massive surge of energy. So when you put together at the cellular level, a huge looks at mindfulness, which is your ability to be present, right? Everyone is talking about mindfulness and being in the present moment. So we wanted to measure all these things in people before and after the program. Some of the people in the program had already done similar programs and taken the initiations, and some people were new. So it was a combination because it's through an online program, and then we did a paired and unpaired analysis. So here's what we found. So the total score, for US average, total score is around 18. A higher number means more depression, more anxiety, more stress. So you want a low score in this. Over 14 is stress, and the US average is 8. You can see all these graphs on the left. You can see the line graphs is the paired, and then the bar graphs. Both paired and unpaired, highly statistically significant in all of these. So statistically and clinically very significant. 5 out of the 9 met statistical significance. And they were also clinically significant. I just included a couple graphs here. The total score, you can see it's going up for just about everyone. And then social functioning is going up for just about everyone. So again, increased mental and physical health was seen. This one is done with, I'll go as quick as I can, but it's so valuable and so important. I want to make sure we cover things. So Dr. Krishna at a Jim Thorpe Rehab Center in Oklahoma did PET scans and noticed heightened activity in the frontal lobe that he can create at will beyond normal human. A PET scan measures metabolic activity in the body structure being studied. In this PET scan of the brain, when Swamiji would activate his third eye through his will, the area that's called the mesial-frontal lobe, which is where the frontal lobes meet, right at the area where the chakra of the third eye, as per Hindu structure, Hindu spiritual anatomy, would do healing on someone, they would completely sync up their heart rate variability. Means a complete cohesion and entrainment was happening. And then again, that a neuroscientist noted, this is a quote, Swamiji demonstrated a remarkable ability to shift between brain states during meditation, samadhi, which is like a superconscious state, it connected with the yogic tradition, and healing conditions. It said he is always in a permanent state of meditation, and I'll explain why. But then the person he was healing, when he was doing direct one-on-one healing, they went into the same increased extreme gamma activity in the whole brain. Also, when he did just a general healing that wasn't specific to the person in the room, again, their whole brain of that person would go into a high gamma activity. So we're positing that this is how the person he healed were completely refreshed and energetic afterwards. And the doctor said, if I had done this, I'd be fatigued and sleeping by the time it's over. So for some reason, this intense metabolic activity of the brain did not cause fatigue. It caused rejuvenation. And then he said, the world is not going to believe this. This is extremely unusual. It seems as if his brain was changing with hundreds and thousands of nerves in the brain was being rewired. This would be, we'll go to alpha waves here. Alpha waves are the next state. They go from 8 to 12 hertz. This is if you're awake and alert and kind of receptive. Could be a listening state. Many of you guys are in alpha right now. If you close your eyes, you go into heavy alpha waves. And then beta waves would be if you're like taking a quiz, doing a task, if you're at work doing a task that requires your mental activity. It's 13 to 25 hertz. So you'll notice this illustration doesn't have gamma waves. Part of that is because gamma waves, people didn't even know about them until relatively recently, because you normally cannot, in individuals who have a higher baseline, like very low levels I'm talking, that you need a QEEG to detect, they're not going to have dementia, Alzheimer's dementia. And even in animal models, they've showed if they can induce gamma waves, the plaques and tangles that you see at the cellular, they would go into a oneness and compassion meditation. They could go into sustained gamma. That's the only other time that I'm familiar outside of Swamiji and what I'm going to talk about that we've seen sustained gamma. But it was in long-term meditators while they were deep in meditation. Very high level of consciousness that correlates with concepts of enlightenment that have been talked about throughout history. This level, this capacity can be built in people and built in large groups of people over time. So this is raw data of an EEG of a very high level disciple of Swamiji, and you can see gamma activity is over 30 oscillations between these two. TPS is thoughts per second, means completely quiet mind, and their whole sense of space will be just completely spacious and unclutched. So we're really excited about this. I think it has tremendous significance for humanity on many levels, and we're excited to research it further. So we'll be talking a little more at the end. Anyone who's out there who's listening, if you're interested in this space of consciousness and how to recreate it and measure it and study it, please contact us, because this is a field we're excited to dive into. A lot more research has to be done. Real quickly, some lifestyle things. I'm not going to go in detail because I'm over time already. But mind-body consciousness approaches can create this lifestyle in their system. So thank you so much for your listening. I complete for going a little over time. But now we're going to have a beautiful unclutching meditation with Sri Mukta.
Thank you, Dr. Peter. What I wanted to say here is that Dr. Bloomfield talked so much about the state of space where you have fewer and fewer thoughts. That's the fewer thoughts per second. And he showed audio is not it's not audible, Peter.
Sorry, let me get back there.
Maintain, fight with, try to destroy, anyway engage, do not do anything with your internal thought process. Just unclutch. And I tell you, it will develop such powerful will persistence in you. Such powerful will persist. In few seconds, you will see you are not thinking process. You are beyond your thinking process. Pure. Sit straight, close your eyes, and clutch. Decide to unclutch. Disengage, unclutch from all thought process.
One technique I use is I use the word unclutch itself. Like when I observe I close my eyes, observe my thoughts, when any thought arises, I just say unclutch, which means I disengage from associating with that thought. Typically, our thought currents are one follow the other. First, I think about my house. I'm thinking about my dog in my house, and then the food the dog didn't eat, and so on and so forth. So it's an association of thoughts that creates problem. So if you unclutch from each thought as they appear, so are you sharing the audio from your output from your computer? When
Yeah.
you're sharing video? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Maybe I'll turn up the volume. Are you able to hear it now?
No.
How about now?
But understand that even those are thoughts. And next time you try this, unclutch from those also. And when you start unclutching from those thoughts, you will start listening to more of your inner sound, like your breathing becomes more visible to you. Sometimes the blood pumping through your heart becomes more audible to you. Unclutch from those also. So there is as you hear things, those are also thoughts. They're triggering thoughts inside of you. So
next slide. So the brain plays a very important role in regulating mood and cognition, not only through activity of certain brain structures. And Dr. Pandav will be talking about the role of the gut-brain axis. So it turns out not only the brain is important, but the gut, in a sense, is the second brain. It has a very extensive nervous system called the enteric nervous system, and there's a communication between the brain. So many studies have been done on depression, looking actually at the brain structure. So we've seen that brain, like MRIs show that there's actually atrophy or loss of brain cells in important areas of the brain, areas which regulate memory, learning, and emotion, like the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, which is really important for attention, planning, judgment, impulse control, the orbital frontal cortex, which is important in regulating our emotions. And it's not only about us, but it's how we bond with other people, how we interact with others. So on to the next slide. So what has been really, in a way, groundbreaking is that initially we thought that brain cells, we have a limited number of brain cells or neurons, And once they're gone. But it turns out certain practices, especially yoga and meditation, can actually lead to neurogenesis. We're actually generating new to others, interact with others. All of these areas are very important for that. And these are enhanced with increased amount of brain cells in yoga practitioners. Very interestingly, there's an area of the brain called amygdala, and this is involved in processing. Now we can move on to what we found in practitioners of meditation. So they have been studied structurally, but also functionally. So we have functional MRI studies, which look more than the brain structure. It looks at different areas of brain that are activated during certain tasks, to release beta endorphins. Maybe you've heard about endorphins. These are chemicals which give us the sense of a euphoria or bliss, and may explain why many practitioners of meditation experience a sense of bliss during their meditation. Also, imaging studies have looked at the thickness of the cortex. This contains the brain cells or neurons, and it turns out they're thicker in various brain regions listed there. These are regions that are important for emotions. That meditators at baseline have a higher level of serotonin, and it in fact further increases after a meditation session, which is very interesting. They also tend to have a lower level of norepinephrine. This is the dopamine is the brain chemical responsible for the feeling of pleasure or reward. Interestingly, studies in both yoga and meditation practitioners have shown that they have lower levels of a very important hormone called cortisol. This is a stress hormone released at the time that we're stressed out. You may have heard of the flight or fight response, and so this is released. And they showed there was a significant improvement in the amount of anxiety and depression that they were experiencing before and after, to the point that many were no longer depressed. And the GABA activity was boosted basically to the same level as people who were healthy and who did not have depression. So this is all very promising findings. We can move on to the next slide. I'll invite Dr. Pandav to discuss the next few slides.
So Dr. Pandav will discuss these slides quickly, and then we'll have a very short video and short discussion to follow. Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
Best possible way. So, the whole food plant-based diet, which is called Sattvic diet, which basically comprises of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, beans, and least amount of unprocessed food and meat. So this is what whole food plant-based diet is. We also call it Sattvic diet. So what essentially there is less of inflammation in the gut lining. So it reduces all the inflammatory bowel diseases and as well as the autoimmune diseases. So in a nutshell, basically the healthy microbiome is caused by whole food plant-based diet. Next slide.
And then a discussion, so you can go very quickly.
Oh. Are we waiting for the video?
We're waiting for you to quickly go over this slide.
Okay, yeah, so inflammation is higher in some people with depression, whole food.
Biomemory. So when the animals are killed, they leave a tremendous pain, suffering. They are not going to say, let the whole world be blissful and die. No. They leave so much of suffering and die that gets recorded in that muscle memory and biomemory. When you eat that, you will fall into depression for a small reason.
Summary, we've seen that the brain physiology, through functioning, structure, chemistry, and gut health are crucial for mental health. And lifestyle changes are critical and sustainable. And objective scientific information now is available showing that yoga and meditation actually expands parts of the brain which are vital for mental health. And the plant-based diet also improves that brain-gut chemistry to improve. Discuss how the Hindu lifestyle practices that Swamiji is promoting have made an impact in our mental well-being. And so maybe if we'd like to go ahead and start, maybe Dr. Pandav can talk about what is Nirahara Samyama and how his experience that he's had with that.
Sure. I always practice whole food plant-based diet through this, and you can add further.
Yes, yes, definitely. I have done the Nirahara Samyama a few times, and this was something that's completely new to me. I think only Swamiji talks about this. I had, been practicing different Hindu spiritual practices and lifestyle measures, but this was something completely different. So I definitely experienced very similar to Dr. Pandav. Of course, there was weight loss, but that feeling of lightness and energy was
From an experience you wanted to share?
I think you're muted, Ma. Dr. Shivaji, you're muted.
Sorry. So sorry about it. So it's other than the other benefits of what you have said, mental clarity, and you're more happier and more lighter and all that. What happened was I used to get every summer allergic reactions. So when I go to the garden, even the lawn, I'm really very bad allergy. Are we going to talk about Aushadha? Integrated
Jump in, Ma. Dr. Shivaji, thank you so much for sharing that. I know there's so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about Aushadas, Harataki, a very powerful detox herb that Swamiji has recommended for us. And then Nitya Yoga is a yoga that conceived.
And unfortunately, we're not going to be practicing any of the yoga asanas today because it's difficult to demonstrate on this in this particular venue. But we can try. So inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose. You will see that this instantly, you will feel that the feeling of coolness in your chest. It really cools you down to the point like you'll actually feel your body temperature go down by a couple of degrees. The deeper you do the inhalation, the deeper the cooling happens. And you will actually feel it in your chest, in the middle of your chest. If you don't feel it, like try breathing. It works instantaneously. And you also see your mind is calmed down. Great. Now let's move on to the next pranayama. Normally when you do this Shitali pranayama, you do it 21 times. Like breathing in and breathing out, that's one cycle. Do it 21 times. It's very powerful. The next pranayama I'm going to teach you is called Anapana. It's very simple. It's breathing in through one nostril and breathing out through the other nostril. So you start off and breathe out for the count of 10 through your left nostril. If breathing out makes you feel stressed because I'm asking you to breathe out twice as long, you don't have to do it. Just breathe out like till the count of 6. Take a quick breath, let the natural breath happen, and then start the humming again. So for example, it sounds like this. When you do that, hum as long as possible, and that will intensify the hum because the sound hums inside your your head. And very soon your entire head, your chest, your body will start humming along with you like this. Right? You would feel that humming inside your face and in your chest. So the more you practice it, if you do it for like 21 minutes, this humming is a very intense exercise. Great. So these are things you can practice pretty much anywhere. And these are all revived by Swamiji. Swamiji has taken all these ancient techniques and then put them in modern AI. I have practiced AI for a very long time, and I've applied AI to multiple different domains. And most recently, I've applied AI to education. And AI is an amazing area which is useful in mental health. Next slide. And the key challenge here is scale. Like sustainable mental health requires scale, and millions need help with anxiety, loneliness, and depression. But the primary challenge is lack of access to resources. And it's like the people who are in poverty, the people who really mental health access to people. Let's go to the next slide. Today's AI is actually super powerful. It can be very conversational in asking questions and getting answers. And it can be very personal. It can be personalized without storing personal information. And if you have availability, like access to a phone, a smartphone, Nityananda KAILASA has developed as a scalable solution for people to ask questions and get answers. It's very easy. Go to nityananda.ai, or you can use the barcode that's available on the screen. And it's a great, you have to sign in for you to get access, but it's an amazing resource that is available to everyone. This uses the entire spiritual resources of the world for living, like authenticity. Authenticity is living to the highest potential. Responsibility is feeling like everything in and around you is under your control. Being integrated is all about being integrated to your thoughts and actions. Enriching is about making sure others are in this state of enlightenment along with you. And completion is what I defined before, right? So it uses these principles to help walk through someone who thinks they are a bad mother because they're not, they're in a self-reflective way. How to introspect into the source of where this challenge comes from. Why do you feel unimportant? Why do you think your sister should do what you want to do, right? And encourages open communication, understanding that you may not be able to spend too much time, but think about it as quality time, and also cultivating this idea of self-worth, which can lead to a challenge. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, now I hand it over to Dr. Prema Kodanraman to talk about women's issues.
Good evening, friends. I'm Dr. Prema Kodanraman, OBGYN urogynecologist and a pelvic surgeon from Los Angeles. We have been enjoying last more than an hour of learning so much about mental 22. The incidence of mental illness among women is increasing. It's pretty alarming. Mental health issues can affect anyone, but causes to women are very unique. Hormonal changes during menstruation, pregnancy, postpartum, and menopause can significantly affect mood and mental health. Race discrimination and the gender pay gap can lead to chronic stress. Relationship dynamics, women often become on emotional labor. So the causes are different. Now, when we look at the modern day treatments of mental illness, women seeking treatment to treat their mental illnesses are increasing, like 55.8%. It's a pretty expensive program, spending about $104 billion US dollar medication, but the end results are not permanent cure, and it doesn't address the mental disorders, and usually it's only the symptom relief. The $1 trillion brain drain, that's not sufficiently addressing the mental disorders. And the other treatments like brain stimulation can be used in special situations where transcranial magnetic stimulation can be used for depression. So let's read this very powerful verses, chapter 3 and verse 56. It's the law of Manu, the oldest legal text, Hindu jurisprudence, says where women are worshipped, there the gods rejoice to the welfare of men. Let's look at details about each level, how this empowering happening in the Kailasa. These policies are mapped to the Manuvati Dharma Shastra, and Swamiji revived matrilineal society to empower women here. So the political empowerment, Paramashiva declares in Atharva Veda, women should take part in US dollars have been invested in women's health at Kailasa. This is very impressive. And again, a spiritual wellness, a core indigenous cultural aspect of Hinduism is being revived as part of Kailasa by Swamiji is the mother worship. The matrilineal society that used to exist in ancient Hindu nations. It's very important to know in Kailasa since 2009. Here are some 5, the most important I'm mentioning here. The Kailasha's Nityananda Lakshmi, the world's first Hindu microfinance project for women. Here it gives the economic freedom to find employment. Kailasha's Ankita program is an educational program. So it's mostly educate female. So next slide.
Only feminine.
Yeah, I think it's a video to be played. Let's hear from Swamiji, his powerful message and a description of a woman by him.
Energy can be given the world. Only feminine energy can be. Unfortunately, see, if it was handed over to women, it would have been completely family-based civilization. So naturally, everybody would have had their basic needs.
Multi-dimensional level, and Kailasa is the model infrastructure, not only empowering women at all levels and bringing the best within them, like leadership, stability, powerfulness, and divinity. And from my personal experience, I have like 14 years of medical education and practicing for 25 years of women care and being there in women during their most sensitive time, pregnancy, delivery, taking care of all age group women. I want to share only after being part of the Kailasa, multiple initiations from Swamiji, the multi-dimension of myself that we realize, and also that I want to give a true statement here to all the knights, and I do pray to my Parashakti and Divine Mother Energy to bless all women all over the world with excellent health and bliss, and bless me with the wisdom and energy to serve women always, and Swamiji to bless every woman all over the world. And here, the science of completion, it's one of the solutions for all mental disorders. It's a meditation technique based on the science of enlightenment revealed and taught by His Divine Holiness. And it works, prevent and treat all kinds of mental disorders, not only for women, it's for everyone. It relieves unresolved.
Second, no, this is, even if it is true, not for me. No, this may be true for the people who don't have to work for their food and paying the bills. No, maybe it is true for the people who are sitting in Kailasa and enjoying the happy, free life. All kinds of thought currents will come inside. Sit, have a little patience, clear and do completion. Understand? This is the initiation I am giving to all of you. Sit in front of mirror. Pen down all these patterns and fears and everything. Intensely chant Mahavagya and see the mirror and start reliving this pattern. Start completing. You will see me appearing in the mirror and making you completely complete and making you manifest powerful cognitions and power ability patterns which tells you no, you need to be dependent internally, externally other than Paramashiva. Pen down all of that. Whatever patterns tells you, you need to be internally, externally dependent on something else other than Paramashiva. Pen down. Pen down.
Talk about children and mental health issues.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sailesh Patel. I'm a psychiatrist practicing in California. So, as adult and women, children also have unique challenges for mental health. Then we have the next slide. So, I have here some of the number. We know that conventional approach have not been enough to address all these challenges. To address these challenges, it is crucial to address it at an early age. And prevention is one of the key components. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramasivam, had given solution. It encourages students to travel, discover, invent their own methodologies, and take leadership roles in early life. Can we have next slide? So, in next few slides, I have summarized some of the case studies done on students at Nityananda Gurukul, where Hindu education system is integrated with conventional educational. These high scores are indicative of above average results. So this is impressive numbers. On the next slide, we have numbers from Sloan IQ test, which is highly validated intelligent test, measures a variety of capabilities, including comprehension, arithmetic, and visual motor capabilities. And these results showed 50% of students with total English immersion fell into category of genius and very high superior intelligence. IQ score of 120 and above in intellectual and mental health, and evidence of whole brain activation and high level of thinking. Policies to change to integrate such education into conventional curriculum. And of course, as I said, more studies are needed to evidence, but policies to change and integrate this education into conventional curriculum would be a good.
Someone who's interested in researching this possibility, this phenomena that I think is available here in ways it's not been described otherwise. We invite you to collaborate with us to participate in research. Of course, we would appreciate funding. As you can see, there's been remarkable research findings, and all the research we've published has been very remarkable, very outside of the ordinary findings. And we're very sure the more research we do, the more we're going to find things like this. So anyone who wants to collaborate, we'd love to talk to you. My email and Peter Bloomfield, my email, and Sri Mukta Ananda, his email as well. They're both posted at the bottom. Also, policymakers were able to stay. We invite you to stay for our kriya, which will be led by Dr. Mukta Ananda. Shall I play the video, Mukta, or do you want to speak first?
Yes. Play the, I think, like I said before, kriya is a combination of yoga positions, yoga asanas, breathing techniques, and visualization. And Swamiji is
in this energy circulation, energy flow, if there is a disturbance in some part, for example, liver, kidney, or heart, intestine, at some part, if there is a disturbance.
For Kundalini energy, in the Vedic tradition, the Kundalini energy is the innate, immense potential energy in every individual that helps complete the energy circuit. How does Kundalini energy reach different parts of the body? Let us take the example of a water tank. A water tank is a structure which stores pedants to energy flow forward, and it results in disease in that particular organ. The Kundalini energy in our body is like the water in the water tank. Kriyas, are powerful tools which help to remove the energy blockage and restore the energy flow. When the body is aligned in certain postures,
the wiring gets properly aligned. After that, the kumbhaka starts pumping the energy into that circuit. See, putting your body in certain asana makes the circuit blockage free. The circuit becomes perfect. But only through the kumbhaka, the energy gets pumped into the circuit. This is exactly the principle on which kriya works.
kriyas are a unique combination of asana.
It removes the disease in 2 days, in one dosage.
The kriyas help to restore the energy imbalance and which results in healing diseases. Kriyas help to heal the body, experience extraordinary powers, and to have
Flexibility, physic, energy. All the 5 put together is yogic body. I am using all the 7 ingredients to create yogic body for you.
Picture of that posture. There is a posture. I shared a picture yesterday. Do we have that in the slide?
This is the last slide, Mukta.
Okay. I think we need to bring that picture. If somebody can add that picture to the slide, to the next slide, that'll be great. Now we're just going to put them all together into one long kriya meditation. That's super simple. So let's get started. Peter, you can play the music. And let's start by doing Nadi Shodhana, which is close your right nostril, breathe in through your left nostril, and then close your left nostril, breathe out through your right nostril, and then breathe in again through your right and breathe out through the left. This is one cycle. Do this cycle for play the music to Peter. Thanks. Now, lie down. Open your eyes slowly. You can pause the music video. But we just wanted to share some experiential, some experiences with you, so you can find out for yourself. So I hope you can practice this meditation before going to sleep every day. It's very powerful, not only in de-stressing, but also in performing to your life's best.